Happy New Year from Jerome, Idaho. I'm popping in here today to wish our Southern Idaho legislators, actually all the legislators, much luck in the second session of the 67th Idaho legislature. They've got some monumental tasks ahead of them as they balance the budget, as they work through agency budgets, as they look at, new legislation that might need to be introduced. I think it's pretty impressive that Idaho's got a citizen legislature and that most of them have jobs outside of the legislature. I think that, it is healthy for them to come back into our communities and have broad conversations with different groups. I don't care whether it's electricians, whether it's plumbers, whether it's railroad workers, teachers, doctors, farmers, ranchers, what have you. I think it's really important that we keep a citizen legislature and that they have the ability to have good, strong dialogue, collaborative conversations, cooperative conversations, and even some compromise sometimes on issues, as long as the dialogue is healthy and good, let's make decisions that work for the broader good in the state of Idaho. I'm pretty proud to call Idaho home. What I heard from the governor's State of the State address on Monday, we're still the least regulated state in the nation. We're the best place to do business. And quite frankly, I think we're the best place in the nation to raise a family. And of course, I speak from personal experience a little bit there as well. But I still think we've got some additional work to do. On the education front, what I heard from the governor, working on the backlog of maintenance issues and facility challenges that we've got in the state of Idaho, could put forward some property tax relief, especially in some of these communities that are really having a difficult time passing school bond. I hope we can make a difference in even some here in the Magic Valley. I think we've got some facility issues, and I really would like to see the state perhaps step in and help, and I think that could reduce some property taxes. On the education front, Idaho Launch is, it's going and blowing, and I think exceeding every expectation. I know here in Legislative District 26, which is Jerome, Lincoln, and Blaine County, they've already got over 350 high school seniors that have applied. My guess is there will be many more. So I think we're seeing a significant interest in those in-demand careers and really kind of looking at putting students into those trades that are in demand. But there's also some serious professional trades, I think, out there that are also in demand too. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And if you've got a high school senior, I really encourage you to apply for those. I was also happy. I really would like them to continue to focus on literacy. Early childhood education has always been extremely important to me. I think if we can get our kiddos ready for school, but I think most important, reading, consistently by the third grade, they have a much better shot at, succeeding in middle school and in high school and ultimately out in the workforce too. I think our collaboratives across the state of Idaho have done a great job, and I really would like to see, continued focus on getting our kiddos ready for school with our community as our business leaders, our families, and our education community as well. So I'm excited to see what this legislative session brings with it. And again, supporting education. We have the best school choice in the nation right now. We've got the ability to send our kids to private schools. My kids went to private school for the first few years, and then onto the public school system. We've got public schools, we've got private schools, we've got charter schools, we've got homeschools, we've got, virtual IDLA, we've got virtual classes. I think Idaho has a significant choice, and us, again, firmly believe that our public dollars should stay in public schools and that there's got to be some sort of an accountability as we have those conversations. We talked about, I heard him talk about property tax relief. I think it's something that every legislative session, it's pretty important to the folks we work with at home. We all know what our property taxes look like. I think, we talk to our taxing districts and we look at what their budgets look like. We talk about, what are the implications. In those conversations, we've got to make certain that we include our counties and our cities and our taxing districts in those, because the implications we make sometimes at the state have ripple effects into what's being done on the local level. but ultimately agreeing that, let's work and see where we need to help out on property tax relief, which again, when you have a higher property tax, your insured value is also going to go up too. So there is a little bit of a ripple effect there as well. I also heard him talk a little bit about, protecting our youth. And I think that goes back to, the work that the Idaho Behavioral Health Council has done over the last 4 years. I can tell you I served 3 years on the Idaho Behavioral Health Council, working between the three branches of government to really give priorities to addressing mental and behavioral health and substance abuse in the state of Idaho. We have made leaps and bounds in that arena. There's still a lot more work to do. Those that are suffering from mental health know that. But what I can tell you, we've successfully rolled out the 988 crisis hotline. They've invested, and I think we'll still have to continue to invest in youth crisis and youth assessment centers and the seven judicial districts. I think it's important to talk about, drug abuse and fentanyl. I know the legislature will look at, putting mandatory minimums in place for fentanyl. I think that needs to happen, and an emergency provision in that, so that we take those drug traffickers off of the streets immediately and not give them any ability to get into the hands of our young people or any of our citizens in the state of Idaho. Additionally, I think that it is important to kind of continue to look at investing in adult mental and behavioral health resources in the state of Idaho, compacts, reciprocity with other states and so forth. Telehealth continues to be a conversation there as well. One other conversation, which is hard to have in an election year, is taxing vape products on parity with tobacco products, because I think that right now vape products are just taxed at the 6% sales tax. I think they should, at least if they don't go on parity, I think we need to consider at least taxing an additional tax on them. Of course, having a tax conversation in an election year is extremely difficult, but I think we've got an idea of how many vape shops we've got. You'll see them set up on every corner. We know they're getting into the hands of our young people, and I think that, an additional tax on that could actually be used to support some of those behavior health and substance abuse projects that we've got going in the state of Idaho. The governor talked about transportation, a $50 million bond for about $800 million worth of projects in the state of Idaho. I hope that we continue to put this third bridge crossing in the Magic Valley on the high priority list. We are seeing that, the longer we wait, the more challenges we have. We know the origin destination study was done. I know they've kind of narrowed it down to a couple different locations. Right-of-way agreements have to be put into place, but I really think this needs to be a priority. And I know that we have talked to, our congressional folks about, soliciting federal funding for this project. But when we have growth, we have to look at, investing in our future. And this is something that maybe should have been done 10 years ago, and we're behind the eight ball. We've got additional bridges and roadways across southern Idaho that still need some additional attention too. So I'm happy to hear that transportation's on that budget. I would be remiss if I didn't kind of wrap up talking about the importance to continue to invest in Idaho water quality, water quantity, continuing to support those infrastructure projects that will, increase storage capacity, increase our aquifer. These are hard conversations. Growth is going to have a serious impact on what our water, situation looks like, and I think we have to bring our developers, we've got to bring our ag users, we've got to bring our economic developers to the table to have conversations about what that long-term growth and the implications on infrastructure needs, including water, look like. I appreciate the fact that, we're going to have to continue to invest in recharge efforts. I think those recharge efforts are working, but again, those agreements have to be solidified and met. a good consistent rainfall would be great to put storage into our water basins in the eastern part of the state. But quite frankly, the trends show that we've got to prepare for those years where we don't receive that snowfall and that rainfall, and invest in projects that will store water as it comes. And I think that we're seeing a lot of that done. There's nothing that speaks sovereignty more than taking care of our water infrastructure, water quality, and water quantity. And I think he mentioned the Quagga Mussels. I appreciate the work that the State Department of Ag did to immediately jump on those and provide that treatment. That was very expensive, but if Idaho's going to take care of business and protect our waterways, this is something that's going to have to continue to be supported and looked at. He talked about, a good number of other things, protecting our natural resource industries, protecting our business climate. But I think most importantly, what I heard is that we will live within our means in the state of Idaho, that we will govern with the slightest hand, and that we will invest and protect in Idaho's future, which includes our families, our education systems. I think we'll talk about property tax relief. But I think good governance comes with investing in our future while living within our means. With that, I wish our legislators the best of luck this session. And just remember that the dialogue, we've got to create a safe space to talk about all issues, and that it's a lot more complicated sometimes than one wants to think. But I'm pretty proud to call Idaho home. I know it's the best place to do business, and I know it's the best place to raise our families. Good luck, and we'll talk soon.